This podcast contains detailed plot spoilers, adult language, and mature themes. Listener discretion is advised.
All right, welcome to a podcast of rare antiquities. We're continuing our watch through of Star Trek Picard. This is episode 4, and I am your host, Geoff.
And this is Harry returning from the dead once again.
Once again, that's good. I got more lives than a cat. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, that's my goal. Meow.
Yes, and this is all thematically appropriate, obviously, for the show here. So anyway, let's jump in here. So episode 4 of Picard. Yeah, Absolute Candor. So what did you think of this episode, Harry?
Not bad. Thought it was a decent episode. It has its ups and downs, like most TV shows out there. In a particular episode, but it was not a fantastic episode, but it was not a horrendous episode. I do like some parts of this episode, which I'm sure we'll get into, but overall, not bad.
Yeah, I think I'm in the same place as well. This was okay. It got going a little bit. So let's take a look at some of the details here. So we start with another flashback again, so to 14 years ago on the planet Vashti, where it seems, so Picard and company have relocated some Romulans here. So we've got a little refugee camp, and so we get a little look at this sort of post-evacuation situation here, and this culture they've got, and then this sect of warrior Romulan nuns, I guess, and this young boy they've taken in. So, and Picard in his, obviously regulation safari outfit.
That's right. Patrick Stewart really has some kind of adverse restriction, or some kind of restriction saying, I am, as much as I can, I am not getting back to that Starfleet uniform.
Yeah, it seems that way, doesn't it? We've caught him in it. Well, which is weird, because we caught him in it was that the beginning of last episode, or was that the episode before? I think that was last episode, right at the start, in the flashback. He was wearing
that's right.
the fan cosplay uniform, and he was wearing, in the one dream sequence in the pilot, he was wearing the original, right. But it's weird, right? He doesn't seem, I don't know, maybe it's his off-duty hours or something, or maybe he's an admiral, he just doesn't have time for that shit anymore.
Well, yeah, it's kind of, it's kind of odd because he is still part of Starfleet, so you would think that there's some, there's regulation there, right? It's like Riker to Rowe. Your hair is not, or Kirk to Savick. Is that regulation?
That's regulation. Yeah. Yeah, I guess he just doesn't give a shit. I guess when you're an admiral, you just don't. You have the luxury of not giving a shit anymore. I don't know. It's a little jarring, but I suppose it's fine. I mean, I can understand the perspective. Guys, it's a hot day, you're on set all day, you don't want to be stuffed into those uniforms for too long. So he starts a sort of relationship with that orphan boy that the nuns have taken in. I believe his name is Elnor, and
it's not Elron. I thought Elron Musk or Elnor. You said
Elnor, yeah.
Elnor. Okay.
Yeah, it's still definitely a Middle Earth name. So
yes,
all of the elves and space jokes are still apply. So
yes, it's like a little bit more creativity could have gone to this name. Like
I guess
Elf. Okay, Elron.
Elron.
How's my Tesla stock doing? Elron. Okay, yeah, sounds about right.
Sounds good. They do okay here. I mean, it's. I guess we see a softer side of Picard, which, I think that makes sense to me from, if you take a look at his character arc. I mean, he definitely did look like he was softening up in the later years of TNG and through the movies, right? He's a little less stiff these days, so I think it's alright. I mean, it's fine, I guess, as a flashback.
Yeah, he's come a long way from Captain Picard Day. So,
yes, he has.
I still love the Riker little... What'd you think, number one? It's like a little stuffed doll. I wanted that there actually it'd be awesome if when he went back to that kind of museum, his little antiquity stop there is, that'd be a little picture of Riker doing that pose with the thing, and right beside the Captain Picard Day banner. I think that would have been.
Oh, because he had the little doll, right?
Yes, yeah, he had the little doll.
That
But I just didn't want the
funny.
doll. I wanted Riker in that picture. Still, making fun of him, but that's just me.
Maybe just Riker trapped in there for all time.
Yeah, yes. Oh man. He
Please
actually
let me
turns
die.
into the Neanderthal
Yeah,
from that one episode. So. No, but actually I did, going back to the episode, I loved this aspect, his relationship with I want to get it right. Elnor?
yeah.
Elnor. So what was nice about it is, you're right, shows a different side to Captain Picard or Admiral Picard there. He did soften up as the series went on. So this is a natural progression. And I think as you observe people getting older, they do tend to soften up in that aspect. And he obviously wants to forge a very good relationship with these refugees. It's a very personal mission for him. And that's good. And you know what I really liked about it? My favorite scene was when he was, it was nice throwback to the fencing and all that stuff. But my favorite scene was when he was sitting looking at the stars with Elnor, the young Elnor there. And it reminded me of that scene of, his nephew looking out into the stars. So he's kind of, bridging, having that kind of sense of a second chance. Here's a relationship he can have with, not that he's saying he's trying to replace his nephew, but he's probably longing for a missed opportunity to have that relationship with his nephew, in a sense, and he's having it here with Elnor. So I like these scenes. I thought this was actually the strongest part of the show, of this particular episode.
Yeah, this is good. So far the flashbacks are more compelling than the present day in large part. So
that's not a good sign.
Yeah, it's definitely not a compliment, but anyway, when we get back to the present day when we're on board the ship at warp speed, and this is kind of our first look at the crew all together in one, well, I guess having a conversation together. So they have the holographic recreation of Picard's office from the Vineyard, and it's four of them, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. All four of them like kind of have are bantering on the holodeck there. So this is our first sort of interaction of them as an ensemble. So let's talk about that a little bit. What did you think of this scene and their chemistry?
So here's the first thing. Before we get into the chemistry and the scene itself, I'm a little confused on why he wants to recreate Chateau Picard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think that's strange. I think from a budget perspective, this is obviously a budgetary decision. They were using the set or this place for filming, and to save money into building a new set, it looks like they just wanted to use this and film as many scenes as they can here to save money. But it doesn't make sense from a character or a story perspective, because he says, I need to leave this place. Because he had that scene, he was saying he tried his best and he failed miserably. So the lesson is never try. So,
the lesson is just don't try stuff.
No, it's the whole lesson from Homer.
Yeah.
You tried your best, but you failed miserably. So, no, but when he's thinking about going back out into space and he's, back to square one, dreaming about all the adventure and getting away from there, this was never his home. And he pretty much says that. He tried, but it didn't suit him. And the call to adventure, the wagon train to the stars or whatnot. So I'm a little perplexed as to, from a character standpoint, why he's trying to recreate that again. But I'm not saying he needs to recreate his ready room from the Enterprise D, but it just didn't make sense that we're going back here again.
Yeah, it did seem like an odd choice, like, I don't know, maybe he thinks of it like fondly as if it's like a hotel or something, and he's okay to,
Well, it is a nice hotel.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's not home, but sure, I'll visit it every once in a while. I don't know. Yeah, I had the same thought as you. I think it just didn't seem to be consistent with what his wanting to go back out into space there. So, but I had the same thought, like cost cutting, budgetary reasons here. And that kind of makes me wonder why the entire interior of this ship isn't one big holodeck. Because then they could make it whatever they want, right? Like they could go wherever they want. Like they could make it whatever facilities they needed, whatever offices they could have as large quarters as you can imagine, because you've got a holodeck there. I don't know. That's neither here nor there. That doesn't really have anything to do with anything, but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
let's talk about the crew then. So this scene here with the crew. What did you think about this?
Early days, I like some of the bantering that they're having. Makes sense, you know. Is this the point where I don't think this is the point where Raffi challenges him on they're going to back to Vashti. I think that's a bit later from what my memory serves. So they're just really talking about
No,
his mission.
this is that part. Yeah,
This is
I'm
still that part, but I think
pretty sure.
mainly,
Yeah.
but I think mainly they're still talking. Are they still talking about why he's coming out here? Is this kind of
Oh,
the
I see what you mean.
argument?
Well, I mean when they're all because like he's in the holodeck there
Mm,
with the other what do they call the hospitality
EMH
hologram?
or whatever, yeah.
Yeah,
Hospitality program, whatever it
hospitality
is.
program. Because there's like 4 different
Yeah,
EMHs now, right?
well, and I wouldn't say shouldn't call them EMHs because
No,
now
we
one's
should.
because that's the just for medical
We have
holograms.
the medical, we have the EMH,
We
we
got
have
the
a
hospitality
navigational.
one, and now you have a navigational one, and looks like a weapons guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
So
yeah, I think we're up to 4 emergency. We'll call them EXHs and fill in the X as you like.
that's right.
That's actually not bad. I should patent that. Okay. Yeah, because he's in there with the hospitality hologram and they're all on the bridge talking about him. So that's their kind of first scene together. And then they all get back together with him in his, holographic vineyard office.
That's right. I
Right.
only thing I recall is I still was not impressed with some of the writing in this scene, even though you know you're getting a little bit more of a window. We want these people to interact here, so they can bond together as a quasi crew, and that's good. So I'm glad they're having scenes together. It just I don't think the writing was still very strong. That was my memory going back into watching this a couple days ago. I wish I remembered specifically what they were talking about. I think it was still like the overall mission on what he's trying to do. And
Hmm.
he's talking about Maddox and this and that. And then I think later they talk about, Raffi confronts him about, going back to Vashti.
That's right.
Yeah. So, and I also think that the Alison Pill character, her name is Agnes something. She's obviously the fish out of water character here, which is fine. I mean, it's a bit cliche, especially for the 24th century. I'm still a little confused on some of her motivations. I know she's saying that she can help, and she has the background and the knowledge and the intellect to help on this kind of particular mission, but she did leave a very prestigious position at the Daystrom Institute. So to accompany them, and she seems a little really out of place here. Maybe that's part of the point. But I just kind of I find it odd that someone who's part of the Daystrom Institute, that they're kind of strange going into space. Just doesn't seem, just for some reason it doesn't fit. I don't know why. But the acting is still okay. It's not like anyone's doing a bad job. I think people are still trying to find their groove. We're only in episode 4.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
we have to be a bit forgiving, but I don't think the writing is as tight as it needs to be for these characters. I think with the exception of the captain here, because we get a bit more backstory later on. He's got cause Agnes is questioning him about how she's bored. She's gone through all of her medical stuff and studying
Hmm.
articles and whatnot. And she says she was trying to find some entertainment,
Hmm.
on the ship, and he only had Klingon opera and
Right.
Klingon
Right.
stuff,
Right.
and I thought that was an interesting thread there that they could maybe explore a little bit more. Hopefully they will with the character. So they're starting to drop a little nuggets here, which is good. But with 10 episodes only, I hope we get more backstory on some of these characters, but at the same time, because this is a serialized storytelling, you can't dwell on these characters too much, so they're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. They can't
Hmm.
really take an episode to say, here's Agnes's episode, here's the captain's episode, here's Raffi's episode.
Right.
So that's not going to
Yeah.
happen. So we have to kind of let that go and those expectations go, and hopefully they develop organically. And it's hard to say, because it's only episode 4, right?
Yeah.
And they're finally all together.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I guess. And I want to talk about a little bit about that in a bit here. Okay, so the whole point of this episode here is to get to Vashti. Picard wants to seek out the older Elnor, I guess, because he figures he's going to be really good with that sword now.
Okay, now question for you. Did he
Okay.
specifically go there to recruit him? Or because they were passing by there? Because he had that one scene with Raffi which was a nice scene. He kind of admitted to her that I may never have a chance to pass by here again. This is the last time, because he knows because of his medical illness and the nature of their mission, which is dangerous, that he may not be alive much longer. So this is why he's going here before Free Cloud, where apparently Maddox is. So I guess that's another thing we should talk about, because it looks like Maddox might be alive, but we'll see. But what'd you think of that? Like, I'm just curious if you thought he was specifically going there for Elnor, because I think he was still kind of surprised to see him a little bit. He did ask that lady. I thought she would find a place for him, right?
Yeah, good point. That's a good point. He did say that. I thought you would have found a place for him. So yeah, that could be. I think he probably went there to check up on everybody, and it's possible he was going to ask where Elnor was, though. Like or try to recruit somebody else to his task. I'm not sure.
Oh yeah, that's right. I think he did drop a line that these people are, the warrior.
Right.
Warrior is still, if that's the case, still, he has a really good relationship with the Klingon Empire. And that's another thing I want to point out.
Well, he might not anymore, though.
Yeah.
That was a long time ago, right?
That's right. So I know he doesn't want to specifically ask Worf, which is fine. Let's let that go. But I'm also wanted to drop a line here, and I don't want to get sidetracked. We can talk about it later. I really wish we would get a little bit of better sense of the state of the militaristic politics that is going on in the Alpha Quadrant here.
Mm.
And I think there's another thing. Wasn't Vashti in the Beta Quadrant? They specifically say that.
Yeah, but the Federation always spanned Alpha and Beta quadrants. Like Earth is like right on the line between the two, I believe.
Is that the case? Okay.
Yes, that is my understanding. Yeah, it's not the first time we visited the Beta Quadrant in even Classic Trek. I think it's come up.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll let that go. But I just kind of wish we had a better sense of what's going on in the state of like the typical races: Romulans, Klingons, Vulcans, Cardassians. Be it what they are, right? All what's happening in the galaxy right now. Is there peace?
Yeah,
is there war?
I don't know.
I wish I don't want to get dragged into those stories. It'd just be nice to know what's happening in the background.
Mm-hmm.
That's just, I know they're not focused on that. It'd be nice to know what that is, though.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind knowing as well. I guess, and this kind of like brings me to what I was going to say before. It's like the structure that they've chosen for this series. It reminds me, this just struck me earlier as I was reading a book, and this is laid out like it's a novel, where like the pace is different in a novel. Like you spend a lot of time picking up your characters and kind of delving into backstory, and then the book kind of, book will often then just sort of like reach its climax as it like pulls all of these threads that it's been exploring through it, right? TV show it feels like that's what they're trying to do here. You've got Patrick Stewart back. You've got a Borg cube. You've got Brent Spiner hanging around. You're bringing in Data and Romulans. Like you're bringing in all this stuff. And we're on episode 4 of a 10. Like we're almost halfway through, and we're nowhere, Mm-hmm. So I'm like, you got Patrick Stewart back, and this is how you're using that. Like I'm not bored. I'm not watching the episodes going, I can't stand this. Like that's not it. But it's just interesting that this is how they chose to do this show, considering what a get it is to be able to do this, I think that they should have done, I don't really like to try to rewrite stuff on our show here, but I feel like they should have done maybe like a more cinematic, like 90-minute pilot, kind of like Discovery did. And they could have got these 4 episodes, like everything we needed out of these 4 episodes, they probably could have done in like a 90-minute movie-like pilot. Mm-hmm. And then boom, we're going, and we've got enough time to do a lot of good stuff. We only have 6 episodes now. We haven't even talked about the Borg cube stuff this week, which I never thought this was possible, that you could, like, if you would just tell me, okay, we got Romulans doing this secret experiment on a derelict Borg cube, I'd be like, awesome, I want to watch that. And every time we switch to the Borg cube, I go, I'm gonna go get a beer.
Yeah, when we get there, I was gonna say the same thing.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, you can talk about it yourself. I'm gonna go grab a beer.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Soji's okay, but this Narek guy.
Oh, it's not good. We just don't know enough. And again, now Hugh again is dropped this week, and I want to know more. You have him there. You integrate him more into the story. Because to me, it was going to be I thought it was going to be a very important part of the story. He'd be more, integral to what's happening. And it's just like, he looks like he was named, like, here's a quick cameo and now it's not important anymore. Hopefully that's not the case, but
yeah,
they need to make it a bit more interesting.
Sure, it'll come back. Yeah, they need to do something with it. Like, they're just biding time with that storyline. Like, they just need to check in every week, so they do another little tidbit, but it's not really necessary, especially this week.
Yeah, because they're waiting for Picard to finally catch up to all that. Yeah.
Exactly. So then, and so that's just not, I don't know, that's not a great way of doing it, because nothing's happening over on the cube. If there was actually something unfolding out over there, as opposed to just, Soji and Narek doing their stalking slide down the fucking air vent, and his sister just acting as evil as can be and a little bit rapey.
Yeah.
Like nothing's happening. Yeah, it was really weird.
No, all those scenes in this episode, what you just mentioned, those two set pieces were not good.
No, they were not at all. And that's really unfortunate. But I guess, like, everything that happens down on the planet when we go back to find what's his name there, Space Elf, Elnor, and on Vashti. So what did you think of this? Okay, so he tries to recruit the kid, or there's a young man now. It kind of blows him off a little bit. They have a little bit of a verbal throwdown. And so we can talk about that a little bit. And then Picard goes to that bar, which says Romulans only. And he picks up the sign, makes a big show of it, throws it on the ground, steps on it, walks in.
And then he goes, Jolan True, hello.
Jolan True.
I'm gonna spit on your sign. Fuck this shit. Yeah. Hello.
Like,
I was laughing.
What were they trying to do with this scene? Like, maybe, like, I could understand if there was some sort of subjugated race there that weren't allowed in, but it's
all Romulans.
Like, they're kind of down on their luck, and maybe those Romulans just want to be left alone. I don't know that I would have been fucking with their shit all that much.
No, I was just as confused, 100%. I mean, like, there's only Romulans on this planet, or in this area of the planet, at least, this refugee camp, right?
Right.
And I don't know what the show's trying to say here, because, they're trying to make a commentary. I think we talked about, why is Patrick Stewart coming back? He wants to touch on certain social commentary, what's happening in the world. You got Trump shit happening here. You got the refugee, the Middle Eastern strife, which might be part of which is definitely part of what's happened with the Romulan people here. They've lost their home, even through its natural disaster instead of, civil war and all that stuff. But in this scene, it doesn't make a lot of sense, because they found a place. They seem to be self-sufficient, even though they don't have all their people, and they're still upset that the Federation seemingly abandoned them, and I want to talk about that too. So they're right to be angry, and I can understand why some of them might be angry at Picard, because he would be the face of that. Did you get a whiff of the captain on the ship? He was saying that he has a statue down there, or Raffi said something like that.
Yeah, she said, I think she was making a joke about it, right? That she's like, why aren't you going to go see your statue? Surely they have one of you, or something like that, I think. Yeah.
I like that. I was like,
that was good. That was funny.
He was probably got down there and he was looking around. Where's my statue?
Where's my statue? They built one, but they took it down because the glare off of the bald head just burned everybody's eyes. So they had to take it down.
Yeah.
They tried putting a toupee on it first, but it didn't look good. I mean, it would be like going to a Syrian refugee camp, and like there would be like a little bar that they've set up that says Syrians only, and then taking the sign down and be like, "Oh, why you guys so racist?" Like, as like a white person walking in, being like, "Oh, I should be welcome here too." Like, it doesn't track. So I was like, is he deliberately trying to piss them off? Like, what's he doing here? And I don't know.
I was confused. It just seemed like it was just something that the writers and the director, and this is Frank's directing this too. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yep, it's Frakes.
So I was a little baffled as to this decision. He should have just walked in there and let the conflict be organic just by him sitting down calmly and peacefully. Because he's still a man of peace. Like, he's pissed at Elnor later that he killed that guy.
Yeah, that's right. And boy, did Elnor kill that guy.
Oh, let's just say that was sweet.
That was pretty great. I love his line first is like, choose to live. And no, he sure doesn't choose to live. He gets killed hard and fast.
You should have said live free or die Romulan. I don't know.
Live free and die. Yeah. Oof. That sword cut through his neck like it was a bag of grape jelly.
Yes.
Oh, that was it. That guy was out. Oh man. That was good. I mean, I wanted to see Patrick Stewart fight a little bit more with the sword, but probably not super practical to expect him to do that.
No, he might break his hip. He might
don't
break
want
his
that.
hip.
I don't know if he survived the Soji explosion without breaking both of his hips and all of his ribs.
That's right. I want to just say one thing is the recording of Picard flying back from that thing from a couple episodes ago. I just laughed. That he would have been dead.
Oh, he was so dead. But
I don't care what kind of tech. He's done.
He didn't even have to go to the hospital. He just woke up on his couch.
Yeah, I know. That's hilarious.
Oh boy. Yeah, okay, so I love the end here. They get back to the ship, and they've been kind of sneaking around a little bit in that original series Romulan Bird of Prey.
That was awesome.
Oh, that was great.
Yes.
That was great. Yeah, even had like the bird painted on it and all the classic.
Well, they did a great job. I was impressed. I'm going, oh wow, okay, now we're getting back to what we know. You're dipping your hands into, you're paying respect and homage to, the lore that's come before, and I was pleasantly surprised. That was great.
Yeah, me too.
And it was a nice little action sequence, yeah.
Yeah, it was a good little action scene. It's cool they took it out, just slicing the nacelle off. And yeah, and then we get a nice classic Star Trek style cliffhanger. They beam aboard the captain of their ship that rescued them, and it's none other than 7 of 9. So yeah, that was, I mean, obviously I knew she was on the show, but didn't see her turning up at this moment. So what'd you think of that?
Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice seeing Jerry Ryan again. Lovely as ever. And I like 7. I know there's a lot of problems with the character. She was there for TNA, the purpose she came in there, but there was still problems with the character beyond that, but I still did enjoy her for the most part and her character in Voyager. So glad to see her here. Can't wait to see what happens next. That's good. It's a nice capper to the episode. But I want to, first of all, you tell me what you think.
Well, no, I mean, I agree. I thought it was great to see her. I always liked her on Voyager. I think she kind of had not a rough go of it. You're right. They brought her on for pretty specific reasons. And, no question, she's a lovely lady. But at first I hated it. I wasn't a big fan of Voyager and I'm still not. So I hated it when they brought her on, but as I've revisited Voyager over the years, I mean, she's probably my favorite character on that show. I thought she did a heck of a good job coming into that cast that was understandably a little hostile towards her. So yeah, I really liked it. So it's nice that they, thought that it would be a good idea to bring her back around. I think it's great. I'm looking forward. I mean, I'm wondering if she's part of the actual permanent crew here.
Well, that would be actually nice. But again, same thing. If she does stick around for the remainder 6 episodes there, you're going to be taking away from the rest of the crew.
Yeah, that's a lot of bodies on that ship.
It's not just the bodies. I don't think it's about the number. It's about, she's there. I mean, honestly, I'm just going to only care about her interacting with me.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't give a fuck about anyone else then, so.
Yeah, that's true. That's a lot of, she's a big character. It's a lot of gravity to, it sucks, a lot of oxygen she's going to take up if she sticks around for too long. That's a good point. I hadn't thought of that.
I think she might be in and out. So she'll be in the next one for sure. She might disappear again for a bit, maybe come back around near the end of the season. That's kind of my take. That's my guess.
Yeah.
But I do want to ask you a couple questions. So
okay.
Segue. So let's talk about this refugee camp here. So they've been abandoned, seemingly, by Starfleet and the Federation. So Starfleet and the Federation was unable to send the ships when Romulus blew up.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I still have questions on that. Doesn't make a lot of sense.
I think I have the answer, but continue.
Okay, but now they've still abandoned these people, these survivors, leaving him there to rot. And that's not Starfleet's way. So, it's not like they're messing with an undeveloped society, right? To me, there's no prime directive.
No, there's no prime directive here. No.
So why, and without any further story or explanation on what's happening politically in the galaxy here, I'm a little confused on why the Federation has still not assisted these people. Because to me, they showed that they have not been back. Nobody's been back.
Nobody's been back. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what's your thoughts on that?
Okay, so the first thing, so my understanding is that they didn't or couldn't send the ships because that's what was being built on Mars when it was destroyed. All of the rescue ships, right? So, and then those Federation worlds, when we found out in episode 2 when Picard went to ask for reinstatement was, there were other member worlds that were like, we're not sparing resources to help the Romulans. And I think my impression is that just kind of became the status quo. Is like, well, they're Romulans, so we're not going to help them. And I think I'd agree with you. Like, that's not necessarily abundantly clear, but my feeling is that that's kind of what the show is going after. Because you and I are bewildered, right? Like, there's these people out there that need help. So just because they're Romulans, if you have the resources, why would you help them? And I think that is precisely what they're trying to say. If you think about whether it's refugees from Syria or from South America, where if we want to pick on Americans, or they're like, well, they're not American lives, we're not sparing the resources. It's like, you have the resources to help these people, so why don't you help them? Like, what's the holdup here, right? And that isn't, so that's what I think it is, and that's not who we've come to believe Starfleet is and the Federation is, but I think that is kind of the point. Like, we talked about this a little bit before. They put Starfleet in a certain position so that they can put Picard in this position so that they can tell this story. Like, they're trying to use that to be able to tell this story. They're using Starfleet as a bit of a punching bag, I guess, in that sense, but
the danger here is that they may completely abandon, forget about just the people, these fictional people on this on this planet. That's fine. But if that's not, they may not even revisit this concept, because you're saying this is an important point to the story. Mm-hmm. So Picard can come out of retirement, get back out there and do something about it, right? Which is fine. But his mission is really about Data. Mm-hmm. And the daughter and Soji and so on. That's really why he left. He got back out there.
Right.
So it's not really about coming back to save these people. You just visited because he was just passing by.
Right.
It's like, you're the kind of like the non-important friend. I'm visiting somebody else, but because you're here,
you're on the way.
I'll just drop by for a couple minutes and just say hi.
Right.
But, I really still don't care about you. So I still have some issues here, not just from Starfleet and the Federation, but from Picard. So if the character of Picard doesn't address this issue by the end of the series, then I think that's going to be a problem. Because, even if Starfleet can't do something about it, like, you have the other races out there that could help. You have the Vulcans, who are the cousins of the Romulans, right? The blood relatives or offshoots of that race. And you think that they would help. And the whole thing here is, I'm surprised he hasn't been name dropped as Spock at all. Because
he was name dropped.
Was he?
Yeah, well, one of the holograms in the last episode name dropped Spock when he was talking about Picard. Like, Picard was the arbiter of succession. He worked alongside Spock. Whatever, right? That was the last episode.
Oh, yeah, okay. But I was hoping that maybe Spock's importance on trying to save Romulus would be, they don't need to explore it because we already know what happened with the unfortunate movie, but be that as it may, it's part of canon. So you would think that the Vulcans then, with the loss of Spock, he's a very important, he's like Vulcan Jesus, essentially. So,
he is Vulcan Jesus, yeah.
So you would think that there would be other Vulcans out there trying to help. So there's just I know they're trying to tell a story, and if people are helping, there might be no story. So I understand what you're saying, that Starfleet's a punching bag, the Federation's a punching bag, and if everyone was rolling around in daisies and everyone's holding hands, then there's no story to tell. But
I don't think they're going to leave it out there like that. I think they're going to come back around to this.
I hope so. That's my point. I hope so, because if they don't, then there's a problem there. I was just curious on what your thoughts are there.
So, yeah, I think my feeling is that they're going to come back around to it. I really believe that. That's what's going to happen. But here's a question for you, just because you brought it up. Who do you think would win in a fight, Spock or Jesus?
I think Spock would outsmart Jesus.
No, I mean in a fist fight.
Oh, fist fight.
Yeah, not in a test of wits or anything like that. I mean like in a Ponfar fucking, ritual throwdown. What do you
I'll
think?
I'll say this. If Spock hasn't had sex for 7 years, he's got Jesus.
Okay. Yeah. And yeah, I think I agree.
That's my answer.
Yeah, I think he's got the edge there too. Yeah, 100%.
But I'll just say this. Captain Kirk at any time has got anybody. So.
Yeah, I guess unless he's had sex in the last 7 years, in which case he's fine. Yeah, his mind's in other places there. He doesn't have a focus. Okay. Yeah, no, I was just wondering that for a while. Okay, well, I think that's the podcast, man. So, yeah, any other thoughts?
No, but I will say this. When Picard was telling those guys, the people, that Romulan warrior nun, when he came back and visited, and he was just like, I haven't been back. The first thing I thought of, speaking of Kirk, was the word Admiral. The word is no. I'm therefore going anyways.
Yeah.
So Kirk would have just handled this immediately.
Yeah, he would have.
Hell with anything. He's going to do what he wants. So
that is absolutely correct. He's going to do what he wants. All right. Well, I think that's a wrap then. So yeah, next up is episode 5, and look forward to that. I think it's another Jonathan Frakes joint this week. So I think that probably means we're going to see Riker and Troy this week, perhaps. So that'll be interesting. Yeah, for sure. All right, man.
Saying that might mean another side quest.
Another side quest. Yeah, I know. Yeah. That's we didn't even talk about that, but maybe we'll get into that next week. We'll see how it breaks down. Maybe Riker lives on Free Cloud. He likes to play poker, so a gambling planet. Who knows? Maybe retire from Starfleet to be a professional intergalactic poker player.
Yeah, that's right. He's on Poker Stars.
He's on Poker Stars, and Troy's wearing one of those weird cat suits from Star Trek 5, in that lounge.
Best fight in all of Trek, man.
Greatest fight in all of Trek. Is so good. So
sounds good, man.
Who would win in a fight then, that cat lady or Jesus? Do you think?
Good. It's one for the ages.
That's one for the ages. Yeah, we'll have to ponder that.
That'll be an antiquity.
That will be an antiquity for sure.
All right, man. I'll see you next time.
All right, buddy. I'll talk to you then.
All right. Cheers.